Yes, we are live, sharing a bit.
Yay!
Hi, guys, and welcome to Passion Cafe Live. This is your host, Jake Berry, aka Sir Chubby, together with
Hi
Randon Giovanni.
everyone. Good
Evening,
evening.
everyone. And we have a very insightful and wonderful episode tonight. Um, it's an honor to bring him, a fellow Rotarian, of course, a past president of the main club of Cebu, and of course as an athlete, one of the stronger triathletes in Cebu. Di man gani strongest, no? Labi na sa young age group. And it's an honor to have him. I look up to him as an entrepreneur and of course as a fit person. Probably more fitter than both of us, bro. Let us all welcome our guest for tonight for the End Polio, Mr. Bernard Von Sia, Mr. Bionic Man himself.
Yay!
Hi
Good
guys.
evening, sir.
Good evening.
Welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
I'm okay. It's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Um, at least we can start earlier and we can talk about a little bit of your personal life. Sir, just to give people a background, kay, before we go to the topic, what do you currently do? And uh, besides cycling or our advocacy for Rotary Club.
Well, I have a hardware supply, construction supplies business, managing our family business. It's been in the industry for about 40 years already. So we have a few branches in the city. We're doing heavily importing a lot of finishing materials like bathroom, plumbing, and tiles, and we also do a lot of innovative materials like green products, sustainable products. And just recently, because of the pandemic, we've started to also bring in some materials that will allow you to protect yourself from the current pandemic right now.
Hmm, interesting.
Sir Bernard, we'll just di ba siya, kuwan day, Bernard today. Sir, on
Oh, say na
Bernard, um, I know for a fact what the event is all about or what the End Polio campaign is all about, but can you please explain to our followers, especially those who are on Facebook? We're also live, by the way, in YouTube.
Oh,
So we have
thank you.
followers in YouTube and Facebook. So, what's the End Polio campaign all about, and how did it start? Yun?
Well, I wanted to start off with a bit of background. No, myself, I have been in Rotary for 20 years, but since my father is also active in Rotary, even in my teenage years, my total Rotary experience has really stemmed to more than 35 years already. I joined Rotary Club of Cebu in January of 2000. I was invited by Ricky Dakay, and from that time on, things just got really very active. I was president of our club in 2015, And you know the notion of being president of a Rotary Club, you'd think that after your presidency, human na, pwede na ka mo relax ba? Kaya you have to let the others also do it. But Rotary just really pulls you to serve, and it's very fulfilling to be able to see people that you've helped. It's also very fulfilling to be able to experience life through other people's eyes. So
Mhm.
this End Polio ride actually stumbled onto my lap because it was so timely that during my presidency, I got an invitation, and this was 2015. So I was about 5 years into doing cycling and swimming and running triathlon. And I got an invitation from my email from Secretary General of Rotary International, John Hugo, and he has invited me to join the Ride to End Polio that was located in Tucson, Arizona. It was a 160-kilometer bike ride, and it would happen on the third Sunday or Saturday of November. Actually, it's supposed to happen next week already, but of course, because of the pandemic, it got canceled. And being the only Filipino to join this event way back 5 years ago, I was able to experience how the Americans, were doing their Ride to End Polio pledging system to be able to help contribute to the Rotary Foundation and Polio Fund. So you know what they do is, you as a rider, they will encourage you to ask pledges from different people, from your network, from your family, from your friends. And so 5 years ago, pledging was very new in Cebu. Nobody understood what pledging was all about. Unsa man ang pledging? What do you mean? So
Yes.
we had to make a pledge form. We have to let our friends and the Rotarians here in Cebu know that to pledge means I will do a sacrifice, and if I finish that sacrifice, your pledge becomes converts into a donation, which we will give to the Rotary Foundation. In this
Okay.
case, and Polio Fund. So long story short, daghang kay tagi pangutana, daghang kay tagi pangulitawhan. In other words, nahimo tag professional nga manglilimos at that time 5 years ago. So
Okay.
I would send text messages, call my customers, my suppliers, anybody. And I was blessed that during that time we were able to, if I'm not mistaken, able to bring in a pledge of close to about 400,000 pesos. So then the challenge was already, the pressure was building up, because if I don't finish the 160-kilometer ride within a specific number of hours that I committed, katong imong tanan gi-pledge, goodbye. Mawa. It will disappear. So, long story short, we went there. We very warm welcome from the Rotarians. They housed me. I didn't have to pay for any hotels because they housed me for the time that I stayed there. They took me around, and then there was a fellowship night. We were awarded the farthest Rotarian cyclist kay coming from the Philippines. Everybody was in North America, and well, we completed it, and we saw that nindot man siya nga idea nga we are going to do a pledging system. So
Okay.
the year after that, Jake, what we did was actually an offshoot of that one. Was we did a try to end polio.
Try to end polio. Okay.
So triathlon to end polio. We connected it
That's
to the Cobra Ironman 70.3 race here way back in 2016, 2017 for 2 years. So the same thing, pledging. So we committed nga there were about 20 triathletes that registered. The
yes.
deal was, if even one of them does not finish, impas ang tanan pledge.
Wow.
So
What
kaloy-an
pressure?
sa
What
Diyos.
pressure?
Yeah, but kaloy-an sa Diyos, no, for 2 years, we all completed. Everybody
Okay.
completed. It doesn't matter if they completed after the cut-off, official cut-off, as long as you cross that finish line.
Ah, okay.
So,
Okay.
fast forward 2019, uh, kanang, if you saw the news September of last year, Ren, there were about 2 or 3 cases na nigawas na naay polio sa Philippines. In
Mm,
fact, niabot gyud diri sa Cebu.
Mm-hmm.
And guys, I'm sure Jake knows this, kay Rotarian man siya, but for those who don't know, did you know that Rotary International, when they had their End Polio drive way back in 1979, September 29, 1979 to be exact, what the country that they chose to be a beneficiary for the polio vaccines was the Philippines. So the then Rotary International president in 1979 and his Philippines, together with a partnership with the DOH, they formed a multi-year effort and donated $760,000 worth of vaccines to immunize 6 million children. So, syempre, so much effort, no? Giuna gid nila ang Pilipinas. And by year 2000, the Philippines, because of this effort, was already declared polio-free.
Mm. Wow.
Sayang kayo sa tanan kay, one more year, 20 years, ang tata polio-free.
Wow.
Unfortunately, polio came back. Polio came back last year, September. So,
Yes.
September of 2019, there was an urge to be able to, we have to do something. Especially, there were cases already in Cebu and in Mandaue from the Butuanon River, if you remember the news. So,
Yes.
at the time, our president in Rotary Club of Cebu was Mike Torres. I just gave him an idea. Mike, mag-ride to End Polio ta. This is my plan. This was last year, September last year. Ko, Mike, mag-ride to End Polio ta. My plan is to make to symbolically protect the whole island of Cebu. We want to cycle the entire island of Cebu, 575 kilometers in 3 days. And
Around Cebu.
round Cebu, the whole circumference of Cebu, tip to tip, coastal to coastal. And
Wow.
the video I am showing you at my background is actually the AVP that we prepared for the 3 days. Not only did we do the round Cebu, but in between the rides, we would stop at certain towns and give polio vaccine to the children there.
Mm.
Nice.
So
Nice.
that's why makita nimo sa video nga na mga bata, we put the polio vaccine and all. Well, of course, last year there was no pandemic, so we were able to do it. I'm
Yes.
happy to say that 22 of our riders that registered all completed.
Wow.
It's the same thing, the same concept. The key was we have to all complete, otherwise goodbye all the pledges.
So where
And
would the kids go, sir, if ever dili complete? Where would it go?
remember, it's still a pledge.
Mm.
It's not yet a donation, which
Ah,
means
I see. Okay.
let's say maingon si Jake will pledge, let's say, 1,000 pesos. If everybody finishes the ride, I will donate the 1,000.
Yeah.
Pledge
Okay.
pa man siya. I
Yeah.
even remembered last year I went to Jake's club, nangampanya ko
Yes.
dito
Yes.
na please pledge already. So we had to tell all the riders, and I'm very proud to say that these riders that rode, there were a lot of them that were not Rotarians. And at the end of the ride, we were able to successfully uh, create so much awareness even to the non-Rotarians. And to this day, 1 year has passed. All those Rotarians who joined still wear the Rotary and Polio cycling jerseys that we provided, that they bought from us actually. So after that time, and then the pandemic struck, so we wanted to do something, but we wanted to make sure that we were following the quarantine and the protocol ba.
Yes.
So our president for this Rotary year, Edward Gaisano, we mutually agreed on organizing End Polio Ride to 2020, but make sure it observes all the health protocols. So
Okay.
that's how it started. That's how End Polio campaign started as far as our club and the Ride to End Polio is concerned.
Okay.
So I'm curious to know why polio among the other illnesses or diseases. Why polio?
Okay, so because Rotary International is an international club organization of 1.2 million worldwide, it is important that we are able to align our objectives with Rotary International's objectives. And
Mm.
from the beginning, when Rotary International was formed, their gear really was to be able to end polio, because at that time that it was at the time Rotary International started, polio was so devastating.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've seen the pictures nga naagay mga lung machines katong steel iron lung, you put people there so they can breathe
Oh,
because
remember,
polio,
I've seen it.
yeah, polio can be very very crippling, but it's something that is very preventable just because of the vaccine. And
Yes,
yet some people don't have themselves vaccinated. And
Mm.
grabe kay ang adverse reaction sa polio from a limp to not being able to breathe kay it targets
yes,
man your vascular system.
yes, yes.
So to answer your question, polio is because why us polio is because polio is the main objective of Rotary International to be able to end polio worldwide.
Yes, one of the pillars, I think. No, the main
Yes,
pillars.
yes.
Um, uh, Bernard, how probably know the answer personally, but why cycling? Why is it? I know it was done and also in the international or in America, but here in Cebu, why did you choose to market it in a way to use riding together with a group?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I told you that the inspiration to do Ride to End Polio in Cebu was from attending the Ride to End Polio of District 5500 in Tucson, Arizona. The other reason is because as usually if you have polio, the normal adverse reaction of polio is really for you to not be able to walk properly.
Yeah.
And because cycling involves so much leg work,
Mm.
and last year we did a 575-kilometer 3-day ride. This year we will attempt to climb the hardest, steepest climb in the whole island of Cebu. We wanted to show the cyclists how it feels if your legs are so exhausted,
Mm.
because those that's the feeling of all the polio stricken people. No, they feel that exhaustion every day. So cycling is like a way to be able to. This is how hard it is to have polio. So we want to try to avoid it as much as possible.
So how much pledges do we have already as of now?
Um, we want to target $3,000. We want
Uh,
to be prudent because of this year has been hard for us, and for our
Yes,
club alone, for the Rotary Club of Cebu, we want to make sure that there's no donor fatigue. The pandemic has raised so much. We've raised so much during the pandemic that it might be hard for us to be able to journey it a lot. So right now we're targeting $3,000. I'm happy to say we are over 50% already, and any excess will always be welcome. And now that you mentioned about pledging, it's not just the Rotarians, the cyclists, the riders who wanted to join the Ride to End Poly. We're encouraging them also to try to get some pledges from their friends, from their family. No amount is ever too small to say that you don't want to pledge kay mauwaw ka kay gamay.
mm.
okay. Um, Sir, I heard this from my fellow cyclists, my friends, know that there is a different rider for this year, unlike last year, almost similar mantanan, but this year there is a pledger and there's also a fun rider. What's the difference between the two?
Okay, so this year, last year it was all challengers. This year we wanted to also involve the ones that. Well, okay. So firstly, this year's challenge is a lot harder because if is it okay, Jake, if I can
Yeah,
explain the route para they
yeah,
have an
sure, of
idea ba?
course, definitely.
So
People will feel also how difficult
yes,
the route is this year.
so we will start in provincial capital, which is kilometer zero.
Yes,
Later on, I'll explain to you how we are going to observe our health protocols by social distancing. And later on, I'll also explain to you that this is not a mass gathering at all. It's an individual event. But our starting point is kilometer zero, which is in Capitol. And then we head to Talisay, passing by Talisay, of course, under the flyover, go straight to Naga. When we reach the corner of Naga Uling, we make a right turn. We climb
yes,
the Naga Uling hill, and then
yes.
we go up and then down to Toledo. When we hit Toledo, make a right turn, cycle about 20 kilometers headed to Balamban.
Yes.
And when we reach Balamban, that's where all the pain will start because from Balamban, we go back to Cebu via the Trans Central Highway. And for
Yes.
those who cycle, or even for those who take their cars, we know that the hardest climb is really the Barangay Kansumoroy, what the cyclists call the sea road. That's the most deadly route, no? And not to mention that after you conquer Kansumoroy, there's so many barangays there that still have so much challenging uphill climbs. Our
Yes.
last climb will be the climb going to Buak, and from Buak, where the corner of Tops is, you go straight all the way down JY Gorordo and go back to Capitol.
If you don't mind me being technical, Sir Bernard, what is the elevation gain for the total ride?
Um, we did the route. We surveyed the route. The total distance is about 2,000. Sorry, the total distance is about 115 kilometers, and the
Okay.
total elevation gains about 2,410, give or take.
In one ride.
But it's so timely because we're doing the ride on November 28th, which is our Rotary Club of Cebu's 88th anniversary. The total distance is 115 kilometers, which is the number of years Rotary International has been in the world.
Wow.
And the elevation is 2,410, which is 24 slash 10, 24 October, World Polio Day.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
timing, yun siya, good.
There's a relevance in the date
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then
The date, the
also
distance, the elevation, everything, yeah. But to answer your question on why there is a challenger and why there's a fun, the challengers are the ones that are the ones that are registered, so that they have to finish. Because if they don't finish, no pledge does not convert to donation.
Okay. So
The
more
fun
pressure for
riders,
the pledgers there.
yes, ang challengers slash pledgers, they're the ones that are being pressured to finish good. But you have the option to register one or the other. The
Okay.
fun riders, for fun, they will bike, they will stop if they can't do it, they will board their cars if they want to, and they will ride again if they want to. The route is individual. That means they bring their own support, they ride on their own. There are some of the registrants that actually are friends that registered together, so they will ride on their own. We
Yes.
will follow the nothing more than 10 people
Okay.
riding in a group, because that's the limit.
Okay.
And we will also follow the no mass gathering, so there will be no program. They will go to Capitol, and then when they go to Capitol, they will just get their bike number and
Okay.
then go. No program, no speech, no nothing.
Okay.
mm,
And then they will provide for themselves. They will buy food along the way, whatever they want to do. And then after that, when they're done, they go back to Capitol. For the pledgers or challengers that finish, we will give them a finisher's medal. For
Okay.
the fun riders, we will give them a huge smile and thank them.
No, I think Clarence ay smile eh, mga bro.
Yes, yes.
just being candid, ba, like I know that there's a protocol right now that we have to wear mask and all, so I couldn't imagine you guys wearing mask and then you have to, di ba, climb up the
Two
hill.
marks.
Yes.
Really.
We are not going to give them their medals if they don't wear all the safety equipments, including helmet, eyewear, closed shoes, and mask.
Dili ba,
Because
di ba na siya lisod nga magbike ka na nakamask pa?
double the challenge. Double the challenge.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Pero good luck when register.
And is it okay if I can just mention to you that if you do want to pledge, I'm happy to say that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation will uh, triple your pledges, because for every $1 that you contribute, they will contribute $2, making your contribution $3. Triple.
Wow.
So
Amazing.
dako yung kayog effect if you give, because when you give mo times 3 yun ang imong ihatag. That is
Nice.
a match by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation together with Rotary International. And since we remit all the donations to Rotary International, it will go back to us in form of assistance as well.
Okay.
So talking about those who donate or who want to give their pledges, I know that we've been through a lot in this pandemic, and I think many people had also been into the drain good for with the finances, but I'm pretty sure there are also a lot of people are willing to pledge and
Yeah,
support. So
yeah.
how
Yes.
do they support?
Yeah. So
Okay, so there are three ways of supporting the activity. No, the first is to be a challenger rider. So you ride, you make sure you finish it, and
Mm,
on your own. And also, if you want, you can also get some of your friends to pledge. The second way to support this is to be a fun rider. You can help us create awareness by wearing the Rotary jersey, and also ask your friends to pledge for this one. The third one is just to pledge.
yeah.
And to pledge is will be easy because we have this Google Forms. I can probably, if it's okay with you, I can probably
yes.
give you a link, and then you can
Yes.
post it on your Facebook. Yeah. And so they just fill it up there. The Google form will show you all the data, how to deposit, and all stuff like that. And we will also announce the status of those who finished through our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Rotary Cebu.
Okay.
So it's very easy. Those are the only three ways you can support us. Of course, you can always support us in any other way, like creating awareness, social media. You can put like a profile picture frame. You can put
Yes.
hashtags, any awareness, because you know, there's so many people who don't know what polio is, and there's so
Yes.
many people who don't understand nga ang polio malikay ra gyud basta magpabakuna lang ka.
Yes.
Just have to have yourselves vaccinated. If you don't vaccinate, huge chances. My three kids, right after they were born, they were vaccinated with a polio vaccine.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you can actually vaccinate up to 5 years old.
Okay.
Mm.
That's good
So
to know.
it's very important that you vaccinate yun.
In fact, that was one of the issues I think, sir, that was talked about in our club, because in the slum areas, murag dili good siya tanan aware gud nga kanang important kay magpa-vaccinate ka sa polio, well,
Yeah,
especially when the kids are young.
yeah, that's right.
Sir,
And by the way, the event ba, the activity, dili siya exclusive for Rotarians.
yes, so
So
that was about my question. So,
oh
uh, is this an exclusive event for Rotarians, or are there riders
no,
or certain riders that are allowed lang for this?
no, I'm really happy. I mean, it really gives us so much joy to be able to see a lot of non-Rotarians taking on the role to be End Polio ambassadors, because we can only do so much. I mean, di ba, Jake? You and me, we can only do so much. I mean,
Yes.
imagine last year we had 22 riders,
Yes.
and the fact that they're wearing the jerseys that we got last year, that's already one way of creating awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy to tell you that this year we have 110 riders.
Wow.
And
Wow.
of the 110, only about maybe less than 20% are Rotarians.
Nice.
The
Mm.
rest are not. And mind you, uh, it's already the non-Rotarians that's already pledging and giving in any amount
Mm.
that they can to be able to help end polio
That's
worldwide.
great.
That's nice.
So no
So
limit.
you mentioned earlier that I think that was in the previous year that you were giving mga free vaccines in specific towns. Is that going to happen this year also?
Oh, unfortunately, we won't be able to do that because of the protocols, the health protocols. No, there is no mass gathering. So, but I wanted to correct you also that the polio vaccine is readily available with the government, with the barangay health worker.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's given for free.
Mm-mm.
Nice.
You will ask, you're asking probably unsa may role sa Rotary. Um, the role of Rotary is to be able to help the barangay create awareness. And that's why if you look at the video right now, can you see the video behind me?
Yeah.
That's already the kids. That's the kids that are being given the polio vaccine last year. So our main role is really to create awareness, because sometimes Don, only 3 or 4 kids go to the barangay health center and have the polio vaccine.
Yeah. And I think not everyone knows, especially in maybe mga areas nga layo ba sa city, not
Correct.
everyone knows this is free. And maybe
Yes.
they have an idea that there is a vaccine, but maybe we don't have any idea that it's given to them free.
Oh, last year when we went there, we went to Tabuelan. We talked to their barangay health worker. Some of the parents don't want the vaccine because hadlok sila. Kay hanumdum ka sa Dengvac siya
Yeah,
na
yeah.
scare. Mao man na siya. So they need to be educated yun. And
Yeah.
one of the ways is to be able to educate them is really to create awareness. And of course, you cannot educate them if you don't gather them in one place. So ang
Yeah.
gibuhat na to sa Rotary is nanghatagtag mga loot bags, gitapok na to sila in one place. Easily 150 kids at that gathering, and then create the awareness, and then nagpabakuna sad sila at the same time.
Mm.
Mhm.
So along with this ride, sir, no, not sir, Bernard. Along with this ride, is Rotary doing something which is adapting to the new trend of educating people, like this, which is virtual education? Like, are we still helping people get a better understanding of what polio is, the effect of polio to health? And of course, in this new normal that we have, is there such a project that Rotary is doing, maybe educating the public about polio through virtual or online in the online platform?
Well, I'd like to answer that in two ways. No, the first one is as far as End Polio is concerned. Right now, because of the pandemic, everything is really limited to online. And in fact, kani one of the ways to be able to educate polio is what we're doing right now. And I'd like to thank you guys, Jake, Rendon. You gave us this platform to be able to educate the polio virus on how it's very, very treatable.
Mm.
But
Yes.
also, on the other hand, not just our club, but Rotary, our district, the Rotary International itself, there is always an ongoing awareness campaign. But sadly, lisod gid karon to be able to reach out, especially to the people who need them the most, which are the urban poor and also from the barangays. It's really difficult because if you know the public schools right now have blended learning. They go to their school, get their assignments, go back to the home, answer them, submit them again. Anak man gud siya. So to be very honest with you, wala. There is really no aggressive polio awareness campaign
Mm.
as far as the children are concerned, because ang among only venue to be able to promote was the schools.
Yeah.
But to answer you also, if Rotary has had any support that we have extended as far as children and education is concerned, Rotary, especially our club, over the last 10 years, have always focused only on children.
Mm.
Rotary Club of Cebu has adopted a 35-year-old Community Scouts and Youth and Guidance Center. This is a center in Pasil that is home for children in conflict with the law. We just recently provided that center with computers. This was provided by our chairman, George Parawan. Computers to be able to allow children there to have online learning. A lot of our members, well, when the pandemic wasn't there, we gave away hundreds of very durable school chairs and school desks.
Mm.
Just recently, we also inaugurated two technical vocational schools in the west and in the north of Cebu.
Mm.
So one of them is in Paypay in Daan Bantayan. The another one is in Tabuelan. So again, what are these technical vocational schools? We're bringing skilled education to the mountain provinces, not to the barangays already outskirts. And in fact, I'm happy to say that the one in Tabuelan, not only is it a school, but it is now an assessment center. DepEd has already recognized it as an assessment center where they teach children the basics, no? Cooking, welding, electrical, plumbing, mga necessary tools to be able to survive. So twofold. Unfortunately, we don't have any aggressive end polio campaign except for what we're doing right now through social media. But as far as assistance in education for children, because our club's heart has always been with the children, we've been pretty busy this year. And aside from that, we also have this program, Jake. I don't know if you remember the Gift of Life program,
Yes. Yes.
where we fund open heart surgeries of indigent children. Kana
Yes.
dako sa kaya na siya. We've, I think, over 150 children already, and one operation costs easily from 200,000 pesos to 800,000 per child.
Per child. Yes.
Per
That's true.
child. So
Yeah.
through a global grant, no? So kana siya doon, no? Those two things. As far as education is concerned, we've been busy this year through the leadership
Yes.
of President Edward Gaisano, but
Yep.
kung End Polio lang, this is where we're headed.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sir.
because I'm pretty sure you're not only promoting the End Polio but as a Rotary Club, you are doing a lot of things, and I'm
Yes.
familiar with Rotary because even when I was young, but I can see like posters of Rotary in school.
Yeah.
So I know you're supporting education that
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. That's right.
Just a personal question ba? If I'm a normal person, I cannot financially support. I cannot also give pledge. What can I do to help create awareness for end polio?
Um, I just right before our interview, I was attending a public image seminar of the district. It was a gruesome 6 hours on Zoom. So, and I realized in that seminar, social media has been very, very strong.
Hmm.
Social media has really gotten up in the forefront of awareness.
Hmm.
So we always say in Rotary, if you want to help, you can either help with your time, with your talent, or with your resources,
Hmm.
or with all three. So if your resources are limited, you can offer your time, you can volunteer in any way, in any club. There's about 22 clubs in the island of Cebu.
Yes.
And or if you want to help, you want to become a volunteer, send us a message on facebook.com/Rotary Cebu.
Mm.
For your time, for your talent, if you everybody has a social media account. If you can help us by sharing our pledge form for polio, by posting, by whatever you see, our Facebook page is a of
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
rich resource of knowledge. We're very, very actively updating our Facebook page. That's why there's a lot of people who just grab our photos and use
That's
it for whatever they want to use. But
yes.
our Facebook page is very active. There's so much resource there. Every Thursday at 1 p.m. is our Rotary meeting over Zoom. And even before the pandemic done, our physical meetings were already streamed live. Even
Hmm.
as early as October of last year, our physical meetings that's done every Thursday at 1 o'clock at the Waterfront Hotel is streamed live.
I
And we
didn't
have
Wow.
know that,
there,
sir. I didn't know
yeah,
that.
it's streamed live. So
You're
even before the pandemic, so it's really nothing
nice.
new. And
Hmm.
and every week we have very interesting guest speakers that talk about relevant issues.
Yes.
Last Thursday we had a talk about real estate. So and we pride ourselves of being able to get good quality guest speakers also. So how
Okay.
do you help? Go over to our Facebook page, check out what our goals are for the club, and you can share them on your wall. That's one way of helping already. You can ask for some donations and you can deposit them online, or you let us know. We can pick it up. It's not a problem. But you either give your time, your talent, or resource, or all three. And we would gladly take any one or three of them.
Okay.
Nice.
Ah, sir, in a personal sense, I know that you are really updated with this. Musiman ko gamay. Riding a bicycle is sort of in at this time, no? Um, what is your take on the cycling community in Cebu? How is it doing, or especially atong mga incidents that happened, like that is really sensationalized, I would say, in social media. Um, is it are we ready as a city, especially in Cebu?
Well, I think I would say, firstly, you have to put yourself in, if you are a cyclist, you have to put yourself in the driver's shoes. And if you're a driver, you have to put yourself in the cyclist's shoes, because unlike first world countries, here in the Philippines, we really, on the road, we need to be more defensive than anything else.
Mm.
Um, I'm personally, I'm blessed because, why? Because I've, as far as commute is concerned, my daily commute to the office over the last number of years, I've tried running to the office, which is about 10 kilometers away. I've tried cycling to the office. I've tried a scooter, kanang kick electric scooter. I have a small Honda Beat motorcycle. I've driven a multi-cab, a car, an SUV, and just recently during the pandemic, because we needed to deliver GI pipes and all these roofing materials for the sanitation tent, I have driven our delivery trucks and 10-wheeler trucks. And I'd say I'm one of the few fortunate enough to be able to drive all these modes of transport, to be able to understand the road well enough.
Mm.
Nga, if I'm a cyclist and I hear a truck behind me, I know where the blind spots are. So you kind of like want to avoid it. But of course, an accident is an accident. No matter how cautious you are,
Mm.
if it will happen, it will happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my take on your question is, Cebu ready for cycling? If you will not, if you will not, if you are not going to do it, we will never be ready for it.
Okay.
So we just have to jump the gun. Karon, there is no public transport. There's a lot of people cycling. And honestly, kulang yun sa education, because
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
kulang, I really feel kulang yun sa education, because
Yes.
you have a cyclist that stoplight mo go,
Yes.
then mabanggaan.
Yes.
Kanang munaog me from Busay, that corner of JY, when you go down from Busay going straight to Gorordo,
Yes.
Yeah.
it's a
Yes.
stoplight.
The
So
balik
Yeah.
even some of the cyclists who have been cycling
for a
will not
while.
stop.
Yes.
So what will happen is, the general driving public will have a sense of kanang they have a sense of kanang masuko sila, nga ma-generalize nila tanan cyclist,
Yes, that's
Mm.
true.
I
which is
agree.
also wrong. So
Yeah.
so are we ready? No. Do we need to do it? Yeah, kay ug di nimo buhaton, what will you do? Wa na.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
No
I
other
think
choice.
I think it's just an emerging response ba coming from people. Now, okay, I don't have public transportation. I need to be mobile. I need to still go to work. And
Yes.
then we are presented with the option, okay, you can ride your bikes, but we
Yeah.
don't really have a good understanding ba of the responsibility that I have as a
Right.
rider on that bike.
Right.
Ako lang is I have to be mobile. I have to go to work. Yeah, wala
Right.
gani ko di kanang understanding kung unsa ang mga precautions that I need to observe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
most
right.
people, yeah.
So the answer here is actually education at the
Yeah.
Pero come on, Jake, are you pila naman taga 50 years na siguro ta, keep on telling people just ride the jeepney sa loading and unloading. Do they listen? So
Okay.
I guess the answer is really to all the rules are in place.
Yes.
Naa naman tanan. I mean, all the rules, jeepney, di pwede mohunong bisan asa niya mohunong. So really just more of self-discipline siguro, because I really don't believe that we're not educated. The Philippines, I'm very biased, but especially Cebu, we're the most fortunate. Kay we can understand Tagalog, we know how to speak Bisaya, and then we're good at English. We're the BPO hub of the country.
Yes. That's
So
true.
I believe education is enough, because if you don't know how to ride a bike or what the etiquettes are, you ask Mr. Google. Education is enough. Kana lang yung, if nobody's looking, I will try to get away with it nga attitude
Yes.
manggod.
Very true. Very true.
Pariharagod na sa you park on the side of the road and then you put your hazards on. You think that your hazard is your exemption already, that you can park
Yes.
anywhere. Diba? So I really think it's self-discipline. I really think it is because education. We are one of the smartest people. Really, I mean, I think you know that. I'm speaking to two of the smartest hosts that I know of. So
Okay, sir, just to close it up, can you invite our viewers or followers to the Unpolio ride or the campaign itself?
okay, so to all your Passion Cafe TV followers on YouTube and on Facebook, this is Bernard Sia from the Rotary Club of Cebu. We are embarking on an activity called End Polio Ride VR 2020. It will happen on November 28, 2020, from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's a challenging route that we plan to individually accomplish. And what we wanted to do is to climb one of the steepest hills in Cebu, which is the Transcentral Highway, in the hope that when we finish it, we will be able to get pledges to donate to the Rotary Foundation. And we'd like to ask everyone to, number one, to all the motorists that will be that will be driving their cars on those days, please be extra cautious. There will be a lot of cyclists on the road that will be individually doing this.
Yep.
So I hope that you can be a bit considerate. Rest assured, on our side, we will tell them during our virtual meeting that you have to follow all the riding etiquettes also. We want to make sure we are responsible cyclists on the road. They need not worry because we're not organizing a mass gathering. So they will be doing this on their own. So it will not congest the road on at any time. Secondly, to our riders, challenger riders, please practice. Kay og di mo katiwas patay ta. Di ta kakuha og pledge no. And to all our riders and to the listening public, please help us raise pledges. I mean, raise the money to be able to donate to the Rotary Foundation. Remember that we were the first country that Rotary International helped by providing 6 million vaccines way back in 1979. And because of that, we were considered polio-free by year 2000. It's just so unfortunate that polio came back in the Philippines last year. So, and finally, for those who are not able to give any of their resources, help us out, create the awareness campaign. Please visit facebook.com/Rotary Cebu and find out more about End Polio, the Gift of Life, Community Scouts, our vocational training, our technical vocational programs, and see where you want to help either with your time or help us create awareness.
Okay.
And I'd like to take this opportunity also to thank Rendon and Jake for giving me this time to be able to speak about Rotary and polio. Thank you very
Welcome.
much.
Welcome.
Yeah. So how can anyone join Rotary? I think that's another question that some
Oh,
of
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Well, as I
yeah.
mentioned to you, there are about 22 or 23 clubs in the island. There's about 98 clubs in our district, which includes Bohol, Cebu, Leyte, um, uh, Davao, Jensan, Tacloban, somewhere in some area. And it depends on, usually Rotary Club is per location. So if you're saying Rotary Club of Mandaue, you usually live in Mandaue. If you're saying Rotary of Cebu, usually you're in Cebu City or where your place of office is, no. So try to see where is your nearest Rotary Club, and then try to see if you know anybody there, because Rotary to admission to Rotary is by invitation.
Yes.
You
Okay.
you don't apply to become a member. Rather, you ask somebody to invite you, because we also make sure that there are no two classifications of the same kind in one Rotary Club.
Mhm.
Yes.
So if I am into hardware store, in my club, there's no other hardware store.
Yes. That's true.
Mhm.
The reason for that diversity is so that we will be able to share
Yes.
without fear of sharing, because we have competition there, to the best of our abilities.
Mm.
Yep.
So
That's
it
nice.
would be, yeah, it would be good to know what your field of specialty is, what your profession is, and then look for a club that you know somebody, or just message us, message our Rotary's facebook.com/Rotary Cebu. Our club secretariat can help you look for a club that's suitable for you, or even in our club. I mean, you know.
Yep. Thank you for
Very
that.
nice.
Thank you for that, sir.
So at
So
least we will know what to do if
Yes.
we're interested to join the Rotary.
Ato lang ka
Yes,
sa
for
mong club,
sure.
bro. We'll
Sakto.
invite you to Metro.
Na mas Jake ay Metro Cebu.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Bernard. Thank you so much
Thank
for your
you.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Uh,
much.
we just like to close it down.
Sure.
Um, bro, ikaw bro, bro, nakay pang closing remarks,
Pang Miss Universe, bro, nga closing remarks.
Mr. Universe.
So my realization is even if we're like what I said earlier, even if we are experiencing a lot in this pandemic, but it doesn't. This pandemic will not stop us from supporting great causes like what Rotary has right now, and I'm really inspired with the fact that even if there are restrictions, even if limited kayo ang kanang maybe kung unsa i-allow to get this activity going and become successful, yet Rotary is still doing it and finding ways lang on how we can still continue fulfilling the cause for this project despite this pandemic and the restrictions that this pandemic bring. So I think that's really something that inspires me. And again, this pandemic will not stop anyone from helping and supporting any cause. And this one that Rotary has is just very relevant. And I would say that this will also help save many more lives. So let's support and let's support the Rotary and get our pledges sent to them.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. For me, on a personal note, again, even if there's a pandemic, very simple, we can still help. Um, I think Bernard has mentioned what are the ways that you can really help. By the way, this is an invitation to all the other influencers out there, sila Medyo Maldito and others, no, all the vloggers. Please share this also, End Polio Campaign. This will be very, very important since we are in social media. And if you are a regular person, quote unquote, you can share this on your wall, on your timeline, Instagram, TikTok also you can do. So please share this campaign. Thank you so much for watching. So Bernard, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank
Again,
you.
if you have questions, if you have comments, suggestions, you can comment it here on this live stream or message us directly. If this is your first time that you've seen Passion Cafe TV, please like, subscribe, and follow. If you're in YouTube, subscribe and click that bell. And of course, we'd like to thank our sponsor for tonight, Three of Me, Passionpreneur and Shirt. Thank you so much, Three of Me, Neo Barquez. And overall, our followers, thank you for watching and have a blessed night and God bless.
God bless.
Thanks.